Bolt your windows. Lock your doors. Check your closets. Look under your bed. And then prepare yourself. For it's another episode of Dark Night of the Podcast. Whoa!
Saturday, stepping into the club. The music make me want to tell the DJ, turn it up. I feel the energy all around. My body can't stop moving to the sound. But I can tell that you're watching me. You're probably gonna write what you didn't see. Well, I need a little space to breathe. Can you please respect my privacy? Why won't you just let me do the things I wanna do? I just wanna be me. Remember this one, Troy? I wanna play me down when you only bring me down, 'cause I'm only having fun. I'm gonna live my life. Oh my God, Lindsay Lohan, the music career that should have been, could have been. There was a moment there where Lindsay Lohan was everything. And that was a very important time in my life, Troy. What are your thoughts on Lindsay Lohan? Let's open it up on this strong, a really bold question.
Well, she's no Paris Hilton in the pop music department, but
No.
I like Lindsay Lohan a lot. I really do. I think she's charming. Mean Girls is one of my favorite films of all time, honestly. It's a film that I can just revisit over and over again and get joy from each time. And mainly it's her, Rachel McAdams. Beyond that, that I don't know. I can't recall seeing very many Lindsay Lohan performances beyond Mean Girls, to be honest with you. But what other Lindsay Lohan performance do you really need to see? That's what I thought until we chose the film for this episode.
My golly. Lindsay Lohan. I grew up with Lindsay Lohan. I was always in love with Lindsay Lohan. A fellow ginger. I mean, I'm a strawberry blonde, but she had the same complexion as me. I always felt like I related to her. I loved her turbulent era. She was such a fool. I like that about her. And I like that she had a carefree time period in her life where remember when she was dancing on that beach?
Yeah.
She just dancing, like having the fucking time of her life. Lindsay Lohan has always lived unabashedly for Lindsay Lohan and for nobody else. Maybe for her parents for a while, but now she's out there raising a kid and she seems like she's doing really well. I'm happy to see her having like this glow up. She's got Freakier Friday coming with everyone's favorite trauma queen. Jamie Lee Curtis is back as well. I'm excited for that. But I will say, like, this film, I feel like this film kind of perfectly captures what I would say was one of the most troublesome times in her life. Like there was a time where she was just all over the tabloids, all over media. This is 2009, I think, is this film that we're going to cover, 2009 maybe. And oh boy, I mean, this is really like right before her career bottomed out. This was one of the last things I remember coming out. And this film, Troy, what is there to be said about this film? I mean, like, this film is an experience unlike any I've ever had before in my life. A cinematic experience unlike any film I've ever watched before. And you had not ever seen this movie, correct?
No, I had never seen it. I knew of its reputation. I knew that, it was kind of the beginning of the downfall of Lindsay Lohan, kind of her public image. I know she got I think she got arrested or something, went into rehab, and filming on this had to be shut down for 2 months while she got her shit together. But I had never seen it, which, surprising. But, it's one of those films that came and went. And this film was so skewered by not only critics, but the public. So there was never any high requirement for me to want to seek it out and spend 2 hours watching it. I mean, we're talking, this is one of the most awarded films, Roger, in Razzie history. It won 7 Razzie Awards. The only Razzie Award it lost of its nominations was Worst Supporting Actress for Julia Ormond, who plays Susan. But it won everything. So the film's reputation certainly is not a great one. And so I did not know what to expect going into this.
Yeah, this is a film that, like, I think that director Chris Sivertson, I think I'm saying that right. I think he had a lot of big goals with this movie when he went into it. You could tell that this is, in his own way, a filmmaker's homage to a giallo, which we've seen in a few films recently. We've really started picking up on a lot of giallo trends from like the 2000s, and I'm starting to see more and more of it. How it was starting to really influence style and cinematography, and I love that. I love seeing that influence it has had over filmmakers who had a lot of impact on us. I think that makes a lot of sense because you and I both love our giallos, but this here is a film that very much is wanting to be a giallo, and I'll tell you, there's a lot of roadblocks in its way. I mean, giallos are often very like muddled and confusing films, but they are very beautiful. And it's always been like the visual elements tend to kind of come first and foremost. And I think that like one thing about this film, like right off the bat, is there's some really simple concepts at play here, trying to play with like color palettes and things like that. But it's done from such like I don't want to say amateur way. Like this is a studio production for sure. I mean, there's money behind this, but like it just looks so like basic. There's a lot of very simplistic decisions made, whether it be how characters are written, the script in general is very dumb. There's a lot of just like a lot of things that just aren't explained at all. And it's just like across the board, it feels like everybody involved is kind of on autopilot. But I do think that the filmmaker probably was trying to express his love and adoration for giallos. And I think that does come through here. But boy, this is a rough watch, man. I mean, this movie is, like I said, it is dumb. It is so simple. My God, it was hard to get through. How are you feeling now, aftermath of watching this movie?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're nailing it. It's a dumb movie. A lot of stuff is just doesn't make any sense. Things happen, and I'm like, wait a minute. I don't think there's a movie that I've watched, Roger, that I had to like rewind as much as this one because I kept thinking I was missing something. I'm like, wait, how did that? How did you come to that realization? Wait, how did this happen? And it's just not explained. It's like
It's not
it's
explained.
the worst storytelling ever. It's just like, we're not going to explain anything. We're just going to have the character waltz in and announce it without giving the audience any clue of how they figured it out, what's going on. And I was just expecting, yeah, I don't know what I was expecting. It just this, yeah, I kept thinking this movie, it's just dull. Like it's a dull movie. It tries to be, flashy and try to have some style, but it just doesn't. It's just like, it's almost like watching like an after school special. I kept getting that vibe that I was in the 80s coming home from school and watching Linda Blair be an alcoholic on an after school special. It has that feel to it. There's just, I don't know, no risks. And I have a real problem with, I love Lindsay Lohan, but I have a real problem with the character she plays, and we'll get to that. I think let's just get into this because I don't know. We're discussing I Know Who Killed Me. This is your pick, Roger, and yeah, from 2009.
No, 2007. Let me correct myself on that. It was
Oh, I see. I didn't.
2007.
2007.
The year of Nelly Furtado. We
Yeah.
always keep
Oh my
coming
God.
back to 2007, Troy. It's a good year. Not for this movie, though.
I mean, it really feels like, I mean, the opening scene of this movie is basically Lindsay Lohan performing a strip pole dance at a gentleman's club. And like right away, I just kind of had to roll my eyes because how fucking cliche do we have to be to get a well-known child actress who wants to be taken seriously? So we throw her into a role that's provocative. She's a stripper. I'm looking at you, Elizabeth Berkley from Showgirl. Kind of the same thing. It's like, it's so cliched now. Oh, we have this goody two shoes, child actress, and now she wants to be taken seriously. So let's give her this role and make her be a stripper or a hooker. Or we've seen it 1,000 times. So I was just rolling my eyes.
And it's not just the scene. I feel like a third of this movie is Lindsay Lohan performing like softcore pole dance numbers. Like it's all very PG-13.
Yes.
I really think like one of the biggest detriments here is the fact that like in the hands of a more skilled director, or just team in general. I mean, no shit on everybody who worked on this film. Like, they all worked their butts off. Good for them. They were clearly devoted to the craft. Didn't hit for a majority of people. The overall consensus is this is a very bad film. In the hands of a more just, I think, a director with more flair. Imagine if a James Wan would tackle this script, and in a way, I feel he almost kind of did with *Malignant*. Like, aren't there hints of *Malignant* in here? Like, when you watch this and then you watch *Malignant*, like, you get what I'm saying?
I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I feel like, and I think James Wan was doing something very similar with *Malignant*. I think *Malignant* is a more successful modern take on a giallo than this, and I think that was the goal here. But I do think coming in on the sequence, I mean, like, I think one of the things that just kills it for me right off the bat is just how, like you said, how cliche it is. It starts on this note that feels very much like Lindsay Lohan, everybody's favorite mean girl. You grew up with her. She was your favorite Disney Channel star, and now she's on a pole right away. We're not going to make you wait for it. We're going to give it to you like 5 times. You're going to keep seeing her strip. You know what I mean? It's never, the first time you see her, she's in like a floor-length robe.
I was going to say, that's what I was
not
going to
that
say.
sexy.
They never go there with her. And I'm not saying like I need to see Lindsay Lohan nude, but like we're supposed to buy that she's a stripper and we're watching her pole dance and she's literally wearing a floor-length robe the entire time, completely covered up. Meanwhile, there's broads behind her with their knockers flopping all around. Everyone shows boobs at this strip club except Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah, there's sandbags aplenty. Let me tell you, if you're coming looking for a nice firm breast, like, you'll get it. It's just not from her. You're not going to get Lindsay Lohan's breast. You are going to get a very aggressive sex scene, though. We'll get to that in a little bit. But yeah, so she enters and she's quivering like a fawn. She's looking very, very sensual, and it's all of a sudden the pole starts bleeding. She just starts to bleed. There's a shot of the pole bleeding, and she slides down it. It's not. I would say this movie, like, one thing to note, this is not Lilo's softest look by any means. She's got hair as black as night for like no reason, so that's like just really harsh. Does not look natural on her at all. And I feel like one thing that just pulls me out of this experience, like, I feel like right now this is a point in Lindsay Lohan's career where she felt she did not have to work as hard for these projects, and like I feel like the laziness, like, she looks kind of rough, she looks a little haggard, she's definitely on autopilot with all of her delivery, and I really feel like this, like, a lot of the decisions that were made with the script, I feel like her agents came in and they're like, yeah, she'll do this movie, but she has to be in all of it, playing 2 characters. Like, it just feels so like it's a vehicle specifically for her, and she is not taking any initiative to steer that vehicle in the right direction whatsoever.
I like the word that you used. It looks like she's bored. It's flat. And I want to get into like the meat of the plot because I think that's where I have a big issue with the film. But yeah, we get the striptease, we get blood running down the pole, which I was like, what is she on her period? What's going on here? I don't know. But then it cuts to the same girl that we just saw stripping, lighter hair this time, in the front of her English classroom reading this story that, I'm sorry, horrible, boring, but the kids are fucking enamored with it. There's that one girl sitting in the front row, just her smile as wide as the fucking sun. She's just loving it. I'm like, this fucking story this would not happen in a high school. Like, the kids would be like throwing shit at her, telling her to get out, sit down. But she's up there just relaxed, reading this fucking story, and the whole basis of the story is like it's like a girl that feels like she has a twin. Let's also acknowledge the there's no subtlety in this film at all. Like, I mean,
None.
at all.
None. And like, don't we hear the same story again later in the movie?
Yeah.
We hear the story twice. This movie is like it's almost 2 hours long. And there's so much in this film that I do not care about. And another issue I have in this film is literally every character in this movie, Troy, feels like a character. Like, nobody feels real. Like, you've got this whole bit coming up here with this piano teacher where we meet this character, this piano teacher. You get one scene with this guy. Like, I'm sorry. We're talking about characters that do not feel natural and very much feel added specifically for the sake of being a plot point. This guy I got a problem. I have got a problem with this guy, Troy, because there is this one scene in which you find out that she's playing piano and she's very good, and she's won an award called the Next Best Artist Award, which is extremely vague and like it just hinted at, but it's never explored again. But because this guy is written in a way, Troy, that he is so prominently featured here and so creepy in this scene, is it not obvious that he is going to come back into play for hostile purposes later in the film?
Yeah, I mean, he just has this very creepy aura about him. Nothing he's like telling her is inherently creepy. It's just he looks creepy, and just the way he talks to her is creepy. I guess we're supposed to in this first 5 minutes we're being thrown that she's like an amazing writer, she's an amazing piano player. This girl can do no wrong, but she tells him basically that she is done playing the piano. That she needs to focus on her writing. That's what's going to get her into. I think she says she's going to Princeton. Big dreams, this girl. And all of a sudden, it's like a weird cut because she tells him she's not playing the piano anymore. He's like, you got to. You're so talented. You won Artist of the Year. And she's like, no, I'm not doing it. And then it just cuts to him driving away. Like, did he yell at her? Did he try to? I mean, he just leaves.
Troy, and this is a big theme that carries through the whole film. This needs to be addressed right now. None of this has any influence or really any mention for the remainder of the story. Really until the very finale. I mean, truthfully, it's not like they keep revisiting, oh, our daughter, she's such a fine pianist. God, when she loses her hand, oh, if only we could hear her play the piano once more. You never see Lindsay Lohan just pining over a piano, yearning to play it. Like, there's the piano in general. It has no tie into anything. It's just there to introduce this character, and then he leaves abruptly, like you said, and it's never revisited again until the finale. And I have a huge problem with that because for such a big, bloated story, would you not try to invest some of the storytelling in maybe giving this killer, let's be clear, this guy is the fucking killer. Would you not invest some time trying to make that feel of importance or connect more?
Yeah, and the problem I have is the film should be a mystery, and a good mystery is going to keep the audience on the edge of their seat guessing. Like, a good mystery will weave clues throughout the film to lead you to the direction that you need to go. There is absolutely zero clues throughout the film because this character just never comes back. And then I just don't. And then when she figures it out, the way she figures it out is so stupid. How did she connect it to that he's on the kill? That's a huge problem I have with this movie. Is there's no mystery or anything sewn in for the audience to try to figure out. Everything is just the character comes to the realization, and we as the audience are just supposed to buy that they figured it out somehow. I will say, after he drives away, we do get the star of the show showing up for a split second. It's that damn hairless cat
with the big fat balls.
Yes.
That Sphinx.
My God.
There's so many weird things about this movie, little choices that are made. I fucking love that Sphinx, though. You're right. But Troy, that is one of the most sour takeaways from this film is when you think of films that are great psychological thrillers, great, like you said, mysteries. Think of films like Silence of the Lambs, where you're getting as much backstory on the villain. Well, I mean, there's multiple villains technically, but you're getting a lot of backstory on all of the characters involved. This, again, being just solely a vehicle for Lindsay Lohan, its biggest downfall is that it only cares about telling Lindsay Lohan's characters' stories, and in a very convoluted way. And so nobody else gets proper time or attention to develop here. And it really is the Achilles heel for this film. None of the other characters, the friends, the parents, everybody, nobody matters in this movie except for Lindsay Lohan.
Characters show up and actually do something important, but then they disappear and you never figure out what happened to them. Perfect example. The next day at school, we have to acknowledge the character is Aubrey Fleming, right? This is Lindsay Lohan, the pianist, the creative writer. This is Aubrey Fleming. The next day at school, we meet her boyfriend, Jared, played by, oh my gosh, I've had a crush on Brian Garrity forever. I just think he's so cute. He played the love interest in When a Stranger Calls, the remake. He was in the Oscar-winning film The Hurt Locker. I love him. I think he's adorable. But again, a character that should have a adequate resolution considering who he is in the plot and what he does, and as we find out, just disappears. But he brings her this blue rose. Okay, does every fucking thing in this film have to be blue? I get color symbolism, but oh my fucking God, I have never had a film beat me over the head with it like this one.
Well, if it's not blue, it's fucking red. It's not as much red as it is blue.
Oh.
I mean, the blue, and here again, like if watching through this film, one of the first things you see in this movie at the scene with the piano teacher, who again, Mr. Marquist, there's this very prominent blue ring. I mean, like this ring, it is the gayest, this homosexual man with this big fucking ring. And so you're like, well, my attention is very much going to this ring. And then you realize like everything is blue in this movie. Like it is overwhelming. And the color of blue that they pick is so unnatural. These blue roses, like what the fuck? These mutated roses this boy brings her. And they're all just these electric blue, and it's very just heightened.
I mean, is that a real thing? Can you get blue rose? I don't know, because she asks him and he's like, oh, I saw a stand on the side of the road selling these blue roses. I mean, it's whatever. It's cool. But one thing that really kind of irritates me is like, so you're introduced to this boyfriend character who's super sweet, and she is such a fucking bitch to him.
Both versions of her are.
Well,
at least the one fucks him, but he's sweet, but he's so like, it's almost like he's almost in a way painted like a red herring in the way they handle him at first. Like he confesses his love to her like right off the bat. Like the first beat you get with this guy, he's like, I fucking love you. And she's like, whoa, buddy, simmer down. Like, she's kind of like dragging him along. But this guy, he's so invested. And again, this blue symbolism, you see these roses, and watching this film again, Troy, I'm like, what do I do with this symbolism? It's not like the blue always represents good. It's not like the blue always represents like something foreboding. The blue is just used willy-nilly whenever they want to have blue. She's wearing nothing but blue. Rooms are entirely painted in blue, decorated in blue.
Knives are blue. I mean, it's insane. It's insane.
It means nothing. It doesn't mean anything.
No, but she's totally kind of dismissive of him. And, of course, because we have to see red, she pricks her thumb or finger on the rose and it starts to bleed. Ooh. And then we do this slam hard cut to this woman screaming. And then a group of reporters like hounding the sheriff outside the courthouse, because apparently we find out that there's a young girl that goes to the same school that Aubrey goes to named Jennifer Tolan that's disappeared. And like she is the second or third young girl in this town to disappear. And like they think that it might be a serial killer. And the sheriff's like, you people are despicable. You can't, you have to sensationalize everything.
This whole transition as like the camera's moving by that fucking like telephone pole with the missing girl flyer on it, and then it cuts to black and you hear this like very big scream and this like meaty like slicing, and like you don't even know what happened. Like, I mean, I'm guessing you're in your mind, you're like, I'm guessing they're implying someone got killed, but I don't understand. Especially as this character comes into play a little bit more. You meet her family. It's an ongoing theme through the course of the film. Why would you think that out of all the things to not have to show the audience in a film such as I Know Who Killed Me, why would you not maybe take the opportunity to have a great, terrifying sequence with this girl getting killed instead of just making the first death in the movie just an off-screen scream? It feels very disembodied. It feels very disconnected. And it's such a lazy decision to choose to not show here. This movie oftentimes makes the decision to just not explain things, not show things, and just like think that we're just going to shrug it off and be okay with it. And I'm sorry, like I have a lot of issues with a lot of things that happen in this film simply because I do not know how they happen. And I want to know how this girl died. I want to see it. It's brought up too much to not show the audience.
And the only way we find out about it is in science class. Jared and Aubrey are doing their little microscope experiments, and the teacher's giving her a lecture, and he tries to feel up her leg, and she does have that comment: "Is that all I am to you? Is a way for you to relax before your big game?" He was like, "Well, I don't know. What is it going to take for us to be together?" And she's like, "Well, more than one blue rose." Anyway, we find out that Jennifer dies because the principal, I'm assuming, comes into the room and tells the teacher. And like the teacher just kind of announces it to the class. She's like, "Oh, they found Jennifer Dolan's body." I found like this would, I don't know. I'm in education. I don't think this is how this would go. I think they'd handle it with a little bit more care.
I truly cannot think of a modern film in recent memory that has worse dialogue than this film. I'm going to say it right now. The way that characters are written in this movie from beginning to end, it's very unnatural. It sounds like it was developed on a computer. Like, I mean, maybe it's like one of those AI scripts that's getting pumped out right now. We know it's been happening for a while. And I think this is an early example because the dialogue is unnatural. I cannot believe for a single second that this teacher actress has any idea what superfluoriglia ganglia or whatever she has to say. She barely gets the word out. But like, I mean, this dame's just walking around, and then she has this moment where she announces to the class, she announces the death, and then she's like, "But please don't ask me any questions. I don't know anything about it." I'm like, well, I can fucking find a better way to bring it up to these fucking poor students who just found out this girl got killed. It's your job as an educator to be available, my friend. So yeah, it just doesn't seem at all natural. And I don't know, like, I feel like it almost feels, and maybe this does add to the giallo edge a bit, because it does almost feel like it was written in a different language and interpreted at times, like interpreted to English. Like it's just certain things just don't fully connect, don't fully land. Some of the things that are said don't sound completely like they totally make sense. And I think that's a consistent problem here, but it does kind of add to that giallo experience in a way for me. I don't know.
I guess I just think, yeah, that the person who wrote the script just really had no idea how like
People
classroom
talked.
how people talk, and then like how these scenarios really would play out. Like this is not how your student body is going to find out that their classmate was dead. And then Roger, it gets even worse at the football game here in a few minutes. My jaw was on the floor at that one. But yeah, so they find out that poor Jennifer's dead. We cut to like Jennifer's parents at the morgue identifying her body as we hear a voiceover from the medical guy talking about how she was full of metacarpal amputation while in a state of full alertness.
It's this really dramatic moment where he gives this full voiceover as every word he's typing, you hear all of it. And is this the same? I don't think we ever see this specific guy again, do we?
I don't.
I can't tell. People blur together. But there's this whole bit he's typing, and you see, and listen, my listeners are going to think I'm a piece of shit here, but you see this whole bit here where you see the parents of this Jennifer, and they slowly, dramatically, like, have this reveal where they pull back the cloth to reveal the body. And it is this big moment. And you've got this big slow motion response as the football game is playing in slow motion, and it going and rewind, and it's just so dramatic. And they cut in this beat of even like the sheriff reacting to the body, and he's like, "Oh," like, and then they cut to the body, and like, listen, I'm sorry, I'm not saying that at any time would anybody have a more subdued reaction in confirming the identity of the corpse of their own child. But they really built it up for me that I was anticipating that this girl, they were going to pull this sheet back, and this girl's jaw was going to be gone or something. Like, I was expecting her face was going to be pulverized, and I was going to get like this just horrific reveal. And like, she's dead. I mean, it's unfortunate for everybody involved, but she's like lightly bruised, and it's not, it feels tonally just really off. I was anticipating that they were going to go really hard with like the gore here, the way they were building into it. And it's funny, Troy, because like though this film has no idea how to actually properly utilize gore, it's not to say that like at times this film doesn't try to pull it off, or and maybe even successfully it does a few times. The visual elements of the gore it's showing, they're certainly capable of it, but this just seemed like a really weird moment in a film chock full of weird moments, you know?
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying because you were expecting it to be like, yeah, grotesque. This is like our first glance at like what this serial killer's, you know, uh I mean
Capable of.
MO, right? What he does to his victims that's supposed to be so terrifying. And yeah, she's just kind of like laying there. Yeah, she's missing an arm, but it's not or missing a leg, but it's nothing like grotesque. I mean, I'm assuming yes, I would freak out if it was my child, but yeah, it's very like tame. But yeah, we find out that we find out at least that this killer has a penchant for removing limbs. That's his thing. He likes to amputate arms, fingers, legs, and things like that. We get this talk about out of place, just weird fucking scenes and characters that never come back into play. So Aubrey gets home from school that day, and the gardener is there. And he watches her pull up, and I mean, this dude's probably what in his 30s, and he's like oogling and ogling over her, and he takes his shirt off even. And like she gets out and they're looking at each other seductively. And he's like, has that branch that he's stroking, and it's all very sexual. And then she like flicks him off and goes inside. And that's it. Like, I don't understand why this scene exists.
But what the allure is with this greasy looking syphilis riddled trash can groundskeeper, he's really focused on like the first 20 minutes of the movie. Like you keep seeing him, they're kind of trying to make him look sexy, but they're also making him look creepy. So like you don't know what to do with it. And there's this big buildup, like you're talking about, where he's like stroking the stick. He takes his shirt off. He's got a nipple tattoo that never gets addressed, and then like she flicks him off, and it's very anticlimactic. But like there are going to be so many issues with the script here. The fact that this character is presented in a way that makes him feel so aggressive, like he is aggressively hitting on her. And then you see him driving later on. You do see him driving in his truck, and then it's very much feeling like this is going to be something that he's going to come in for questioning, or he's going to be playing a factor in some way. He's definitely going to have a death scene. Like, why even introduce this guy? Like, why? Like, this film is, again, almost 2 hours long. This scene could have been cut. Every moment this guy is on camera could have been cut, and the story would not have changed at all. At all. Like, he has zero impact. Like, I mean, like, and like, what are they trying to say here? That Audrey is desirable, that she's confident. Like, I don't know. She's a fucking high school student, right? Like, okay, that's fine, but like, it's not doing anything to benefit the story. I don't understand the purpose.
Yeah, I was confused. I was like, what the fuck? Like, and there for a while, they're both like, giving each other the fucking each other with their eyes. I'm like, this is just weird. Is this going to lead somewhere? And it doesn't. It does not lead anywhere because we cut to the football game that evening where she's watching her real boyfriend play the game. And then you get this really weird, just like, I don't know, disrespectful, I would think. Like the announcer's like, oh, every students and audience, let's please have a moment of silence for Jennifer Toland. So that, the whole, everyone in the audience is like bowing their heads and there's a moment of silence. And then he gets back on super excited, like super fucking excited. He's like, okay, now let's win this game for Jennifer. And it's like, that is the last thing I'm sure Jennifer's parents want is for a fucking football game to be won in her honor. It just seemed really just...
This is the moment with like this is where they had that weird like build up with those like light spills, those blue light spills, and they're doing like, this is where they're showing the football game in reverse.
Yeah.
It's like this weird, like, it's just this weird, like, I don't know, maybe just trying to tonally establish that there's something off-putting going on. Like, I don't understand. Like sometimes in this movie, they choose to put a ton of focus on certain things that don't benefit the story in general. Like even like the football game overall, like, yeah, it's good to know that she went and then she leaves. I do think you see that she's being watched a little bit, But overall, they just waste a lot of time here with these kind of bloated moments that serve zero purpose.
Yes. I mean, we see her holding blue roses. She's blowing Jared a kiss as he's playing, and then it just like the game's over, and she's leaving with these two girls we've never seen before. I mean, they're just there now.
And never will again.
Never will. They're supposedly her best friend, and they're talking about like whether she's had sex or not with Jared. And then again, heavy-handed, no subtlety at all, because she talks about, oh my gosh, in this crowd, it would be so easy for someone to stab you. And then she mentions like, oh, there was a serial killer that used to go to movie theaters and like inject people in the seats in front of them and then leave, and the person would die and nobody would know that the person was dead until the movie was over. And I'm like, okay, they took that directly from He Knows You're Alone, the beginning of He Knows You're Alone and Scream 2. But it's like, okay, so it's foreshadowing obviously that something bad is going to happen. But God, again, heavy-handed, like no subtlety.
And I do like this moment. Like, if we're going to try to give this some compliments, I guess, I love this walking shot of the three girls through like the aftermath of the game, like all the people out on the streets painted blue. Like there's that startle moment where that blue man just comes running out screaming, everything's blue. It looks like a Blue Man Crew performance. It's so blue. And I like the way they film it. Like for a moment, like it's got this good chaotic energy, but like I mean, there's very, very little to compliment here. I'm really grasping at straws. But like this whole dynamic of these three girls is something that I wasn't minding. Like I feel like if anything kind of felt maybe kind of natural here, it was this relationship between the three of these girls. It certainly isn't the relationship between the girl and her parents, or Dakota and her parents, as we come to find out. But I was like, oh, okay, like this feels like this is going in a direction that I can actually buy this chemistry. And yeah, these girls, after like what happens here, they're never seen again. And it feels so wasted and also feels so unnecessary, like make it, I mean, the boyfriend comes into play. He is at least used again, but like, why are we getting to know these girls if they just go away? They're not there to support her, nothing.
No, they could have at least shown up again later at like the hospital when they think they found her, just be like, oh, and she's like, who are you? But no, they disappear. Well, what happens is Aubrey sees Jared through a crowd of people and she calls after him and she has to get through the crowd. And as she's getting through there, you were right, the gardener, she sees him driving by in his truck. And so she ducks away and tells her friends that she'll meet them back at 11:45. Well, later at 11:45, her two friends show up to meet her and she's not there. And they're worried. They're calling. They call Jared at the exact same moment. He comes around the corner. There's that awkward like thing where he's like, where did you park the car? And then one girl's like, oh, I guess over by the museum. I don't know what she said. So they go to this car. Car's empty except for the blue rose that's on the dash.
And you feel very unsatisfied with the way this is approached. Like her going missing, and I understand there needs to be an element of obscurity as to what happens here. There needs to be a bit of vagueness as to what happens here because the story kind of depends on it. But when you do like learn about the outcome, again, there was no reason to not show the pursuit and the abduction. Like they could have done this and still greatly maintained the mystery factor, but for her to just all of a sudden not show up at the movie theater and then cut to the movie theater with the girls waiting, like I kind of get it a little bit, but overall I feel very deprived of what I would feel would be a very important moment. Again, another important moment and an intense fear building moment at that. Like make me scared. This is a film that should make me feel scared. Why is it not there?
Yeah, this was a great opportunity for like a stalking sequence. Like, she's being stalked and, that could really build some suspense. Again, so much of this, what happens in this film is just kind of like shown to us without any explanation as to how. Yeah. And then all of a sudden we cut to her being bound and gagged and tied to a table as an assailant with a blue surgical mask, blue gloves, basically is like accosting her. And then he takes out that dry ice. I will say, okay, if any scene in the film I think is effective or maybe a little bit cringe, it's the dry ice scene. Like he puts the dry ice on her hand and then clamps it down and keeps it there as she's screaming fucking bloody murder. But everyone now knows that Aubrey's missing. So there's detectives that are at her parents' house. They're asking if they can copy her hard drive. We haven't really seen Aubrey interact with her parents very much at all. And then you get this conversation with this female detective and Aubrey's mother that really kind of, again, lets us, in a very non-subtle way, know that this mother that isn't observant when it comes to her daughter, because the officer's like, what was your daughter's mood the last time you saw her? And the mother, whose name is Susan, is like, I don't know. I guess you don't really pay attention to your kids when they leave. I don't take a mental note of my daughter every time she leaves the room. And it's like really weird. Like this mother just seems so aloof.
Very aloof. And I think this is like, this character specifically, Susan, played by Julia Armand, one of Weinstein's girls, whose career was ruined by Weinstein. And she's come forward about that because she was the it girl for a minute. And then but now she's doing this. The scene is so weird, Troy, because she's standing there holding that fucking naked cat. And it's supposed to be like, they give her these dramatic moments. The mom gets several monologue moments where she's kind of just like tumbling into dialogue and she's just drifting through this speech and it's pushing in on her holding this naked cat. And it really doesn't really fucking go anywhere. The thing is like, they try to give her these big emotional moments with the daughter, but there's really no connectivity. Like without actually seeing some of these tender moments, you can say it all you want, but without really truly seeing enough of these tender moments, I don't buy it. Because when she comes back into play, there's a lot of distance between the characters. So it feels like, if anything, they have this weird big separation. And I do think this dialogue here just makes it feel all the more. I feel like the mom is very attached to the daughter, and she's so infatuated with loving her daughter that she just doesn't see any struggles or anything that the daughter's going through, because and you learn that she had a unique journey in carrying the daughter, I think, too, so I think that's one of the things that overall, I think they have a bond where the mom's aloofness is almost because she's just wearing blinders. Don't you get that vibe? She's wearing blinders and isn't picking up on anything that her daughter's maybe going through.
Yeah. No, with her daughter, it's a very she's, like I said, she's just aloof. She really doesn't know the struggles that her daughter is going through. I don't even know if she knows that her daughter quit piano lessons or anything of that nature. So we get transitioning back to Audrey, who's on the table, and she has that vice holding down that piece of dry ice, and the killer comes in and loosens the vice. And this is disgusting. This really is. When he basically peels the piece of dry ice off of her hand and it rips the whole top layer of skin off of her hand. It did make me cringe for a film that so far has been very PG. This is the one moment of gore that we do get, but don't expect any more. This is about it. And then he saws off her fingers, which again, camera doesn't flash away. It's pretty brutal, but that's it.
You get a finger moment later in the film, but it's a lot of the same thing. It feels almost like they had maybe one prop they wanted to keep on using, so they kept doing the same thing over. But and then he pours he takes that vial of blue liquid, and it's looks like soap. It looks like dish soap because it's just thick blue goopy liquid. But without telling me what it is, it can look pretty, but you're trying to make it seem like it's really painful, whatever you're doing. Tell me what it is, so at least I know what I'm reacting to.
I didn't know what it was. I was like, is that Dawn? What are we doing here? But she is screaming, so it must hurt, it must burn. Maybe it's alcohol dyed blue, because everything has to be fucking blue in this movie. But yeah, this is a scene. It did make me cringe. I was like, okay, this is pretty gross. I've not seen anything like this before. About the closest thing I've seen was in the movie Frozen, where the girl wakes up and her hands are frozen to the ski lift handle. Oh, that's ugh. But yeah, and then we intercut with search parties are out looking for her, and detectives are in their briefing room trying to piece together clues. And Audrey is coming to and from on the table. She's still alive, and she reaches for a tray of blue crystal surgical instruments, because that's another thing. All of the surgical instruments that are in this torture room are made from blue glass or blue crystal. So there's knives, there's saws that are all carved out of blue glass and crystal.
They look like they were ordered off of Wish.
Yes.
Like, it's like, I get they're trying to make a statement. It looks really cheap. Like, I mean, it's pretty, but like, if you're trying to make an intimidating killer, which I don't think this film even cares about that, like this guy is not it. And his weapons, like, yeah, they look cool in like certain shots, but at the sake of being scary. And one thing I want to really touch on here, and I think this is one of the more noticeable issues as well within the film, is as the search party's happening, you see this whole bit where they introduce the idea that the FBI is actually setting up like a base in like an area church because she's missing. This is now becoming a serial murderer. You have these FBI agents coming in, Bascom and Lazarus, and these characters get some ample screen time at first. There is a parent, and the director has said, and I haven't even thought to state this yet. The director said, and it's on Wikipedia, that's where I got it, but it makes so much sense. That's why I want to bring this up. That the original cut of this film is 3.5 hours long. Fucking, can you imagine a 3.5 hour long director's cut? And he said that, so he says, to a lot of people, it doesn't make sense. There are a lot of plot scenes, especially a lot of investigative FBI stuff that was just totally cut out of the movie. I was more interested at the time in just the weirdness of it all. Tell me that, does it not feel like at a certain point the FBI story here is going somewhere and it just drops? And it's like at the cost of the film. Like, not saying I would want to watch 3 hours of this, but like there had to be a way to tie up more of these loose strings here, because you really do get this big moment where the FBI is brought in. They're established as being a prominent focus in this film. And for this to not go anywhere feels extremely unsatisfying. Kill them. Just kill them. I don't know, something. Do something with them. But where the fuck are they for the rest of the movie?
Yeah, I mean, they disappear. They'll keep the gardener stripping his shirt off, but they'll cut stuff that would have made the audience make more sense of what's going on. No, I would not have wanted a 3.5 hour cut of this, but now that you say it, it definitely fucking makes sense. But I think that I'm going to say that, in my opinion, probably some of the wrong choices of what to cut. Because the movie becomes like nonsensical. And so after this, we move on to this broad that we never see again, driving down the highway, bitching up a storm.
My favorite character.
I knew it would be. She is just bitching up a storm about her boyfriend and how she can't believe that he wants to break up because they are so in sync. They finish each other's sentences. Well, all of a sudden this dog darts out in front of her, so she has to swerve. She goes into the side of the road, the shoulder of the road, into the ditch. And when she gets out of her car, she notices there is a body laying in the field beyond the ditch. And so she calls out to it. And then we cut to Aubrey's dad getting a phone call, basically telling him that Aubrey has been found.
This girl's going through it. I mean, she's like, I've got 10 seconds on camera, but I'm making the most of it. And even when when the car swerves, which I will say, like, again, cool concept, the car swerves and boom, the headlights hit the body. Like, I like the setup for this, but like, it's played like so melodramatic. She's like, hey, you okay? Like, clearly not. That's a fucking body. And it's apparently a body missing an arm and a leg. So like, I'm sure she's not okay. But like, I don't know. Like, I love a random side character more than anybody. But like, these characters, like, I really feel like we should have known some of these people a little bit more. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, there's another side character I like coming up here, because basically Aubrey, quote unquote, wakes up in the hospital and she sees
Derwin.
You know what I'm talking about?
Oh my God. I'm sorry. I've been waiting for her this whole time. This woman swoops in like an angel. I'm sorry to cut you off, but oh my God. Imagine waking up, Troy, and that little butterball face.
Just staring down at you. And she's like, hey, sweetheart.
So mad that this woman didn't come back into play. They make such a focus on how like just kindly and like grandmotherly she looks, and you really think like, oh, Lindsay Lohan has a friend in her. Like, I really thought that she'd be confiding in this woman, and like, never see her again. But she is remembered. Oh my God, that woman. Oh, I want to grab those cheeks.
Oh, those chubby cheeks. I made a note of her. I named a special note of her. She is so sweet, just sugary, saccharine sweet. She goes to get the doctor because, obviously the girl's awake now. And this is when poor Aubrey, quote unquote, realizes that her arm and leg are gone.
Okay, so what this movie doesn't necessarily give us, like, when it comes to like gore, because like overall there's not a lot of gore in this film, but there is a lot. There are a lot of moments of shocking amputees,
Limbs,
like
stubs. It's just stubs.
visuals, and it is shocking. And it's Lindsay Lohan,
Stubs.
Lindsay Lohan with. I mean, like, I don't know. Is there a proper, like, am I allowed to say certain things? I want to say like it's digital, so it's a nubbin. It's got like it's like a little, like, I mean, she's got a leg and she's got an arm and she's moving him around and she's weeping. But this visual is never not shocking on camera. Like when Lindsay Lohan comes in on crutches and she's just got that, like, that lump, that little, it's shocking to look at, isn't it?
Yeah. She is not happy when she realizes she's missing her arm and her leg, and it's just like the stub.
Would you be?
No, but yeah, but we have to wait till we get there because the whole ridiculousness of this whole shit is just absurd. Back at the police station, basically Lazarus and Barscombe, or whatever the fuck their names are, they're talking about how they want to keep the fact that Aubrey is alive. They want to keep that out of the news because they don't want the killer to know. Because they think if the killer knows, he's going to come after her. So they're going to keep that hush hush. The female, Barscombe, surmises that she must have been dumped by the side of the road. And that the cutting must be for punishment. And when the punishment's over, like, he finds a way to kill them without physically killing them, because we find out that Jennifer died from drowning because he dumped her in a in a creek, and because she had stubs, she couldn't get out of the water.
Listen, I am not trying to be offensive here. I'm sure there's a better term. Troy, look up the term, the
I
right
don't
term
know
that
what
we
it
need
is.
to be using. But the one thing that never fails to impress, I guess, is the sheer volume of amputeeism in this movie. And like, you see the body, like, you come back and you see a photo of Jennifer's body laying out, no leg. And like, I guess if there's one thing I'm going to give this film is, like, I can't think of a lot of movies in which focal characters are rendered amputees, or any, I mean, the closest I can even think of right now is like House of Wax, where the female lead has like the tip of her finger cut off, and that's kind of shocking. But like, overall, like, how many times do you get like a major character who's rendered limbless? It is kind of shocking. It's never not shocking. So if I'm going to give this film any credit, not even like I think it's in its favor, it's just really like something unique about this film. It is the fact that the rest of the movie, not only is Lindsay Lohan an amputee, she is also bestowed upon her by a magical wizard a robotic arm and leg combo that acts shockingly like human limbs do. Oh, I can't wait to get to that.
You have to charge them at night like they're a cell phone, right? In order for
technology's come so far, Troy.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and then the other detective is like, no, I think she escaped. I don't know. How the fuck does he think she escaped with no leg? She boggles my mind. Oh, she just crawl? I don't know. Susan and Daniel now come into her room, and they are in her face when she wakes up, and they are like, oh my God, we missed you so much. We missed you so much. We can't wait to take you home, Aubrey. Oh, Aubrey, welcome back, Aubrey. And the girl looks at him and's like, who's Aubrey? Who are you guys? And of course, the mom's like breaks down and cries, and the nurse has to comfort her and be like, oh, she's been through a lot. It's going to take her some time.
Dakota fucking Moss, stripper, horror, dressed in nothing but scarlet, the color of a whore. I mean, she grew up in a crack house. She has no social security number, of course. We even get to see her discovering the corpse of her junkie mother.
Like, my God, that whole flashback. Right away. I thought, I thought that was a man. It looked like a dead Rod Stewart. I'm like, what is this?
Regardless, is this a flashback
It's a-
that like I really anticipated even having?
Yeah. Well, because we get this whole the whole next scene is like they took her to a therapist because they do think that she is suffering like post traumatic stress syndrome and she can't remember who she is. But she's very adamant. I am not Aubrey Fleming. My name is Dakota Moss. And the psychiatrist is like, okay, what's your birthday? And her birthday, he has a chart with 2 columns: information about Aubrey, information about Dakota. Birthdays match. Dakota has no social security number. She's like, my mom was a junkie. She died. Yeah, we get the whole flashback of her finding her mother, which the only importance it plays is because the mother, when she finds the dead body, is holding an envelope with money in it. And when she takes out of her hand, we get a close up of the postmark is from New Salem. And that does come into play later on. One of the only smart things about the script that it revisits. But yeah, we get this whole new persona that is Dakota Moss. And I'm going to tell you right now, I guess an issue I have is like, I don't, and again, I think it's Lindsay Lohan. I mean, the director, it's both of them. There is not a big difference between Aubrey and Dakota. There should be a much bigger personality difference between the two of them. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, she's playing the exact same character, it's just a different name. Like Lindsay Lohan really gives nothing different to the Dakota character, who should be a lot more rough, a lot more, she says the word fuck, big fucking deal. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I was thinking to myself the whole movie, this is the same character. Like, Lindsay, what are you doing? Like, there should be a much bigger distinction between the two characters you're playing. You're playing a girl that's raised in a wealthy suburb, a piano player, a writer, and then you're playing a girl who is a stripper her entire life, raised by a junkie mother, but you're playing them the exact same way.
I mean, and how intentional did it have to be on behalf of the director to basically take the whole setup for the Parent Trap and make it a horror movie? Like, I mean, really, like, I think that had to be part of like the wink at the audience here is like, this is something she's done before to significantly greater success in a different genre. Like, let's be clear. But like, she did an accent, like she was very charismatic. Lindsay Lohan is not charismatic in this film. Like, I love Lilo. I love Lindsay Lohan, but Lindsay Lohan has given some great performances and she's given some very wooden ones as well. And this is amongst the worst of it. Like, you are correct, no differentiation. And when she tries to, like, there's occasionally moments where she's trying to, like, toughen up and be like, you're fuzz, aren't you? Like, and it sounds so like, what the fuck? I don't buy that this girl has ever experienced the kind of hardship that they're showing us in this big dramatic flashback. Like, you're going to give me this junkie mom flashback. You're going to try to make me feel for her. But like, I don't see it. I've seen other actresses go so much further with similar concepts that this is just feeling lazy to me. I love Lindsay, but it feels so phoned in.
I will say I was upset because I've heard that it's a bad performance, and I'm like, you know what? It's Lindsay Lohan. Come on, I love Lindsay Lohan. Mean Girls, but I was just like, wow. I mean, I think you were 100% right. I have not seen an actress phone in a performance like this probably ever. And I mean, we have to blame the director. Like, why wouldn't the director be like, you need to like create a different character? Look at the backstories of both of these characters. You cannot play them the same way. And there's moments where we see her like popping drugs and stuff, but like it doesn't work for me. It's like I'm watching the same character. Like, you are doing nothing to try to make me think that these are two different people. So I don't blame her parents and everyone for thinking it's really her because it acts like fucking her.
No, listen, I know whores. I know plenty of whores. And I'm going to tell you, I mean, she doesn't have the dialect down. There is a roughness to a street walking whore. There is like a stripper. Listen, a broad who grew up stripping with a mom in a crack house. There is just a certain edge that Lindsay Lohan just simply like does not possess. And I'd love to see her go that far in a performance. It would make me so happy. I want that grit, and it just doesn't exist, and not even a hint of it. And so it makes the character of Dakota feel very like almost comedic. It's like it makes me think of the time. Remember when she played fucking Elizabeth Taylor in that Lifetime movie, and she
God.
played young Elizabeth, and she also
Yeah.
played old Elizabeth.
Yeah.
And it's like I just think that like I love Lindsay, but I just don't think she has a range to pull off certain extremes that this film required to really land.
I would agree with you. And again, it was just a thing that I could not get past. Now we get a scene with Susan showing back up with a bag of Aubrey's stuff, including like this teddy bear that she doesn't recognize and her music that she likes. And she makes the comment, "Oh, well, I hear that, music can snap people out of coma." She's like, "Do I look like I'm in a fucking coma?" And then she immediately recognizes that she snapped at her, probably was a little too harsh. So she dials it back down. She's like, "What else you got in that bag?" And the mom pulls out a picture of her as a little girl in a swimsuit next to a beach. And she recognizes it. She's like, "This really looks familiar. This looks like me." Although the picture that I'm thinking of, I had a different swimsuit on and it was a different, dirtier beach full of trash, but this looks like me. And then she's like, "Well, but I guess a lot of little girls look alike." And then we see that Susan finds out that the psychiatrist gave her the corpse photos because in his session to help her maybe jog her memory about who did what to her, he gives her the photos of Jennifer's corpse and she still has them on the bed. So of course Susan freaks out and is like screaming about, "How could you do this? This is sick." And the detective is like, "We're trying to get her to give us information."
I mentioned the detectives, but specifically the psychiatrist really like is introduced. There's a moment, where he really sits down and gets deep with her, and she seems like she's really sharing kind of an electricity with him. If any character so far, it feels like maybe that the character of Dakota has a relationship with is like maybe a little bit as the psychiatrist. She starts speaking with him, and I feel like there definitely had to be a subplot involving this guy because for a while he feels especially connected to the storyline, and then he too drifts away, but for a moment, like he's really feeling very focal. It's weird because you can tell that the character of Dakota is so resistant to the family. Like that is one interesting aspect. It feels like Dakota's character is being give a family experience that she's never had before. And so because of that, she's really hostile towards it. And there's some just like wonderful internalized development that could be happening for this character, realizing that she's feeling loved and everything, and just wasted. Like you get one tender moment between the mother-daughter duo, but like overall, like that, I feel like there are themes there that like really feel like they should be explored for this character that are just kind of tossed to the wayside.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, she definitely is much resistant to trying to, show these people any sympathy, because she knows that they did lose their daughter, so she could be a little bit more sympathetic, understanding, but she's sure willing to go to their house and like we'll get there as well. So we get this whole scene where Dakota is being questioned by Bascom and Lazarus, and they just want to know like who did this to her. And she's like, "I don't know." And they're like, "You have to know something. Like, tell us what's going on, because once he finds out you're still alive, he's probably going to come after you again." And then they're like, "Well, you got to give us something. Like, you got to give us something." So we get this whole strip club flashback where she's like, "I got a job as a hostess." And we get a cameo from one Bonnie Aarons, this rough smoking broad.
It's not just that; it's Bonnie Aarons as this rough-spoken broad, like right up in the camera, like looking dead into the camera. And the way she plays this character is so weird. I mean, listen, I love it. She's a character actress. I've got a story about Bonnie Aarons. When she was at Houston Horror Film Festival, I'm telling this story. When she was at Houston Horror Film Festival, and I felt so fucking awful, but Troy, I had this jacket on, and it was really like a tight space. So I was trying to get this jacket off, and I lifted my arm up, and I elbowed Bonnie Aarons in the head. But I'm pretty sure she was maybe like, I mean, she was feeling good that evening. She was having a good time. And she looked at me and she bounced it off. But I was like, Troy, when I tell you I elbowed that woman in the head, like I'm telling you, I'm shocked she didn't drop. So I hope she can't. I'm shocked. I hope she doesn't have like something in the future where she comes after. I feel like I really elbowed that woman hard, but she's a trooper. I mean, she's the nun. She's this gal, Fat Tina.
Fat T.
It's not fat. She's not fat whatsoever. But and Fat Tina's got a couple moments here where if anyone should have come back in the fucking finale on a motorcycle with a shotgun, it's this fucking broad. You know, this gal can stand up for herself and kill a man. Absolutely, she should have been in the finale.
Your ID says you're 21. You're fucking 21 to me.
That is a problematic approach.
Yeah. Well, and then they push her out on stage and make her strip against all these other boobs flopping everywhere. Yeah, I mean, we get another whole. I mean, this is her big moment. Like, I know she says she trained. She did pole dancing lessons for months before this film. I mean, it shows because we get a good 5-minute performance from Lindsay Lohan on stage. Again, the only dancer not topless. All the other women around her, their tits are flopping everywhere. Men are going wild. She's crawling up this pole, doing the splits, spreading her legs in front of the audience. And she does notice like somebody's specifically watching her. And then she's like, well, that night when I left, she went to the bus stop and the guy that she thinks was then the club watching her is now like watching her from across the street. It's real creepy. It's just a figure with a baseball cap on. And then like she's waiting for the bus. And as the bus is pulling up, she turns around again. And now his face is like literally pressed against the glass of the bus stop. It is creepy. It is creepy.
Well, and I think there's a really cool concept here that is not explained thoroughly enough, where is what she's seeing matching is actually what she's seeing, or is she seeing elements of what Audrey is seeing? Because the way he jumps, he almost teleports.
Yes.
It's very fantastical. And that makes me feel like there's something connecting here. There's something, I don't want to say it's fantastical. Like what they explore here is a heightened reality. It's based off of a concept, but it's not real. But they're definitely adding this weird kind of like fantastical element that I don't know how rooted in reality it's supposed to be,
I mean, we have to acknowledge this film has a fantastical element to it. There's a supernatural element to this film that came into play that really came out of left field for me. I don't know if I thought initially that Dakota was truly Aubrey. I mean, I could never, I was like trying to figure it out, and I was like, come on, movie, give me some clues. And it tries to kind of steer you in the direction that, Dakota is a fragment of Aubrey's imagination. But like what's revealed, again, completely just out of left field, fantastical. So I don't know. I see what you're saying. Like, was he really stalking her, or is she just seeing visions of what Aubrey saw the night she was abducted? It doesn't matter because she gets on the bus and gets away from him. And, they're asking her, well, is it this? How do you know it's the same guy that cut you? And she's like, I don't. And she's like, you gotta give us something. Quit playing games with us and tell us the truth. And she's like, you don't think I want to know the truth too? I woke up with no arms and legs. And now she's locked in the hospital like a prison, she says. So, I mean, again, this is a long scene. This is a long flashback. And at the end of the day, it doesn't really go anywhere or give us really any information. I guess it's maybe to mislead us to think that she was. I don't know.
Yeah. And again, like knowing that there is a longer cut here, knowing that I'm sure they were probably exploring other ideas, like I'm sure there was going to be more of I don't want to say a red herring vibe here, but like, I mean, the killer in general, like if you're removing the FBI element, I'm sure there was a lot more of them trying to find out who the killer was in the original film. And God, I'd have loved to have seen that. That really would have wet my whistle. But no, instead we just get a lot of her, and she's having these weird, there's these fantastical moments because there's this whole bit here, which is a pretty cool visual. She's sleeping, and you see the whole indentation of what is like a needle getting injected, like as though somebody somewhere is injecting her with a needle. Elsewhere, it's occurring to her in the moment. You see the skin puncture, you see the blood start pouring out. But here's like what I don't buy, and I shouldn't be trying to even answer these questions because the script is just too simple for it. Are you telling me every time these girls have ever gotten an injection that one of them, like the other one, has had the exact same thing? Like if you're going to approach this concept here, which is this far-fetched, fantastical idea of twins experiencing the same thing on a physical level. You can't pick and choose which ones are going to happen and which aren't. Like either it's happening or it's not, or else it's bad fucking story.
Exactly. I thought the same thing. That if this is what's happening, you would think this would be happening throughout their whole lives, and that they would be like, "Oh my God, this has happened before." Why, there'd be some sort of element to them about, "Oh, well, I've experienced, a pain in my arm unexplained many times," or whatever. But it's not mentioned. So did this just come out of the blue in this particular situation?
They have the picture. That's the one thing is that there is this weird flashback moment later in the film where you see their two pictures, like of them in their bathing suits, but at different beaches. And at the same time, apparently they got hurt at the same time and they both react, but you barely get any of it. It's so confusing when they show it. I think they're hinting at that a little bit, but you can't tell me that this is like, maybe it's because of the emotional distress that this triggered it. I don't fucking know, but still, you don't get enough explanation to really have that make sense.
Yeah, I know what scene you're talking about, and I guess I did not connect that. I just thought she was having like major hallucinations, and now her mind was like, "Oh, kids screaming." I don't know. We get the whole police briefing room again, where like the whole cops are looking over evidence, and the doctor's there, and he says that it's usually easy to find inconsistencies, and you usually get a tiny bit of the original person. But again, she's acting exactly the same. How are you not saying that this is the same person? The one detective, Lazarus, thinks that she's lying out of her teeth. The doctor's like, no, she's not lying. She's just delusional. And sometimes people create alter egos to relay information that their primary personality would never reveal. And the detective is like, I just don't think she's given us the whole story because she doesn't think anyone will believe her. It's a lot of just like dialogue that is just heavy and just like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. And because it's not really going anywhere in the long run. They're exploring it and then they just stop exploring it. So it's like, if you're talking about things that could get cut, honestly, just fucking cut all of it. If anything, just have it be, don't give it this extra focus, but it feels very weighted after watching this a few times back. All of this detective stuff just feels very like extraneous,
It's a lot. Aubrey's dad, Daniel's watching TV when the program's interrupted with a news bulletin that basically is announcing that Aubrey survived and has been at the hospital for the last few days. Now, this is what they were worried about getting out, because they really believe that when the killer finds out that Aubrey's still alive, that he's going to like go after her. Now, this is another plot hole, because we find out at the end that the killer has no idea that this person exists, or he doesn't question like the second person, which was real weird, because you would think that this person who is a member of society, the piano teacher, would be paying attention to the news and would find this information out, and that would cause him a lot of like confusion and turmoil, because he still has Aubrey. So he'd be like, who the fuck is this person that they think is Aubrey? Here she is on TV, like they show up. He would be free, but no, he doesn't know anything about it, which I find completely unbelievable. I think this is a killer that he would be watching the news, he'd be keeping up on the coverage of his crimes, but we were supposed to buy that he has no idea that this happened.
It's so unappealing. It's one of my least favorite elements of this film, Troy. Is just, I mean, I've said before, is how they handle the killer, but specifically of how oblivious they play him. Like, there's no way in this small town, like it seems like a very connected town, and there's no way that this guy would not be aware of this. If they would be making so much buzz, it's local, like it's just, it's just sloppy.
Well, that night she's in bed dreaming of like the man, like you talked about, the man injecting her, and her arm like starts to bleed. And her dad comes in because she wakes up screaming, and he sees it. And him and the orderlies are trying to calm her down, and she's freaking out. And you would think like the dad seeing this would be like, what the fuck's going on? He does, I guess he does scream, someone cut my baby. But dude, you've been outside the room the whole time. You're sitting right outside her room. If someone was in there, you would have seen them go in. You would think this would be a bigger issue for the parents and everyone involved, that this girl is automatically just randomly wakes up and she's covered in cuts and bleeding. Nobody seems to give a shit about it.
Well, and there's like that shot like where they're trying to like hold her down and she like smacks him across the face and rubs blood all over his face. I'm like, that's whore blood. That's whore blood. You don't want that all over your face.
Oh,
Oh my
God,
gosh. Yeah.
And now she's going home, quote unquote. She's, again, for a girl that certainly doesn't want anything to do with this family, she sure is ready to go live in their fucking house and eat their fucking food and just sleep in their comfortable bed, isn't she? I'm sorry, another thing about this character is that this character is a fucking conniving bitch if you really think about it. Like,
she's a fucking bitch, man.
I mean, you would think that they would want her to be somewhat likable, like maybe she's the whore with the heart of gold, and she's going to try to do the right thing. This bitch, no, she's not really this family's daughter, but she has, like I said, she has no qualms moving into their house. And then what she does with Jared, I wanted to punch this girl.
Oh my God, I will say, whenever I do get a clear, unobstructed view of Lindsay Lohan as an amputee missing both an arm and a leg, like, it is the best part of the film for me. And you just got her sitting on the bed weeping over her nubbins. I mean, and listen, again, I'm not trying to be like, it really, like, the camera doesn't shy away from it. You are getting heavy focus on the stubs. And when they show it. And it's pretty well done. I mean, there's some shit in this movie that's not well done, but the limb stuff looks pretty good to me. It looks pretty good to me. And so they show it a lot here. And this is when we get to the part, right, where this mysterious magic man.
The state of the art metal robotic hand and leg. He comes in and he fits her with it. And he's like, you have to remember to charge him every night. It's so weird.
I thought this guy was going to break into song, Troy. Like, the way they present him, he's in all banana yellow. He steps in, and he just looks so confident, and he really looks like he's going to become a big character. And I really thought he was going to be like, come on, we're going to like lead you on like a journey. We're going to show you how to live a new life with these prosthetic limbs. And they were going to do like a soft shoe number with her, with the limb, like learning how to tap dance. That's how it felt. Because it's just very weird. Like, this guy he almost seems like he's going to be like a guide for her. And he like does like some physical training with her. And then like,
he's gone. At least he's wearing yellow and not blue, right?
Right? Banana fucking yellow. And it looks great on him, but like,
but you cannot introduce these magical state-of-the-art robotic limbs out of the blue and then not explain, like, just like, oh, we're not explain it.
Well, and also, I got a bone to pick here, Troy. Who the fuck is giving out these like high-tech, state-of-the-art prosthetic hands and limbs willy-nilly? Like, it really isn't explained thoroughly, is it?
No, how she
procured these limbs. Like, this man, truly, he's magical. He's like her fairy godmother. He comes out of nowhere. He bestows upon her these amazing limbs with rubber covers so that it's clearly like her hand under a rubber glove. So when it's moving, it's just her. Like, it's so weird to look at.
Yeah. Well, she gets back to the house, Susan and Daniel's house. And she gets to her Aubrey's room and she's examining it. And, she asks, Aubrey chose the colors. And then she sees a photo of Aubrey and you can tell she's like, oh, wow. Yeah, that does look like me. And then that cat comes in, that hairless cat meows at her. And the dad's like, oh, it looks like someone else is happy to see you. And she's like, I don't like cats. And the parents leave all upset. So she's there, she's in their house, she's living with them of her own free will, but she's still acting like a bitch. Okay, so the next day, oh my God, Jared shows up. Now, we need to talk about this because this girl knows that she's not Aubrey. I mean, she tells him she's not Aubrey. He, of course, doesn't believe it. He shows up with a bouquet of those blue roses, and she immediately is like, I'm not Aubrey. And he starts crying, and she's like, no, really, I'm not Aubrey. And then he gets up and he kisses her. And like she kisses him back and bites his lip. She's like, would Aubrey do that? And then the mom comes in and Dakota is like, we're going upstairs. She proceeds to take this boy upstairs, that she knows is Aubrey's boyfriend. And she's in these people's house that I mean, talk about just a bitch move, disrespectful bitch move. She literally takes Jared upstairs and fucks the shit out of him. I would too. I mean, again, I've always thought Brian Garrity was hot. So hey, more power to you, girl. But what a shitty thing to do.
Well, and she comes in the room, and there's something about this moment. She's on crutches. She's not wearing her prosthetic leg, so you just have the leg hanging there. And that fucking red little boy, like the boy shorts, though, it's still like very sexualized.
If she tells him she forgot to charge her leg.
Oh my God. So then you have this moment where he's like, I'm going to go bang this amputee. I mean, there is a very heavy, like, amputee. I don't want to say fetishization, but this is a very sexual scene. She mounts him. They don't really, it's not like they show her leg without a foot bobbling in the air. He's railing her, like just going to town on her. It's not like you're getting erotic shots of her stub, but it is still very heavily implied that it's kind of sexualized. He comes up and kisses her, and she's like, I'm gonna fuck the shit out of you. And then the poor mom comes in, Susan, and she's like, Susan, go put those flowers in a vase, like, fuck off. And then she goes up and she climbs this boy's maypole, and she is on top of it. She is going to town. It's very drawn out. Like, extremely drawn out. The poor mom is neurotically scrubbing because she's overwhelmed.
Because they're not being quiet. I mean, they're both like moaning and squealing, and when he comes, he's like, and there's like the poor mother is just, she doesn't know what to do. She's like,
she's probably like, she's like, she needs this poor thing.
My amputee daughter's being railed. I guess I gotta go along with it. And then they finish, and he says to her, Aubrey, why are you doing this? And she's like, did she ever fuck you like that? Did she ever fuck you at all? And he doesn't answer. And then she's like, do you think she'd start now? And then he's like, look, if you want me to call you Dakota, I will. But if you're not Aubrey, why y'all cut up? Dude, these are questions you probably should ask before you fucked her, right?
It's her with that damn cigarette and that dramatic blue fucking lighting. We haven't even touched on the amount of red and blue that we've seen thus far. Like, I mean, you don't understand. If for some reason you're listening to this and you haven't seen this movie, it is an aggressive usage of the colors red and blue. But she's laying in this blue lighting, smoking her cigarette or red lighting. And it's very pretty, but it's so overdone. And I do like this visual though of her just laying there like hitting that cigarette. She's such a bitch.
So my question is with this next scene, well, because we cut to her in the shower and she's showering and then her finger starts to turn black and bleeding and contorting, which is gross. So things are happening to her, but then I'm so confused. So we cut to, she's back at the strip club. So is this a flashback or is she literally now stripping as an amputee?
No, Trey, what's actually happening here is like she is recalling to him what has happened previously, leading to her being an amputee. So it's a flashback. She's in the shower, and all of a sudden her finger just turns black and falls off, and it is out of fucking nowhere. And she apparently doesn't tell anybody about it. And I would be like very worried. And she's like, at one point, she's like, hospitals are for rich people, but I get it. But when your finger falls off, like that's a game changer.
Yeah.
Like you got to get that taken care of. So she like chooses to just deal with her finger rotting. You can see the bone before it falls off in the shower, just turns off and it's rotting. And so basically what happens is that she's starting to experience what will be the loss of her limb. But she was aware of it and trying to not disclose it. She was trying to hide it for a while.
Yeah, that makes sense because then that it's a flashback. And then she goes, when she goes backstage, she does a striptease pole dance for the audience. When she goes backstage to try to pull off her glove, her finger falls off and like she faints. And then she wakes up to fucking, what's her name? Fat Angie? Fat Debbie?
Fat Tina.
Fat Tina. Above her with this other stripper, played Roger by none other than Kenya Moore from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. But, we this is a recurring theme with Troy and his knowledge. Do you know who else Kenya Moore is?
She's a Miss Universe.
She was Miss USA 1992.
God damn it. I'm dropping facts.
I was so excited when I saw her. I'm like, that's Miss USA 1990. How many fucking beauty queens have we come across while doing this podcast?
All of them. We've literally met all of them. And what a role for her. Really getting to shine here. No, I mean, she just plays a stripper who found Lindsay Lohan passed out on the ground. Lindsay Lohan, whose hand is wrapped in rags, and Fat Tina is very suspicious about it. And she's trying to question her about, like, well, what happened? You've lost a lot of blood, blah, blah, blah. And, like, eventually, Lindsay Lohan, you've got to tell someone your finger fell off. Like, maybe someone can help you here. I really think this is a situation, if you tell enough people, they're going to get you to a hospital and get the bill paid. What's the end game of not disclosing that you've lost a finger?
Yeah, yeah. And instead, they just give her some extra tissue and she's off onto the bus. And there's that dude on the bus that's telling her that, he sees like her, like blood is dripping onto the bus floor. And he's like, you got to hold your hand up above your heart, And she's like, aren't you going to ask me what happened? He's like, people get cut all the time. That's life.
What is that fucking line, though? They make it such a thing. They really emphasize this. People get cut all the time. That's life. Like, that's one of those lines where I feel like it didn't totally translate to English perfectly.
No, it's real weird.
Because it's weird.
It's weird. Yeah, it's real weird. And like, apparently he makes a pretty big impact on her because he comes back in dream form later. I mean, this 30-second interaction she had with him on a bus was impactful enough that he's haunting her dreams.
And he's hot. Like, he's kind of hot. I hope she fucked him.
Well, I mean,
if you're going to fuck someone without a leg, you might as well fuck him without a finger. I mean, she's sitting there. My favorite thing about this moment, Troy, is like when he tells her, he's like, you got to put your hand up above your heart. She's just sitting there smoking a cigarette on the bus. I don't even think you can smoke a cigarette on a public bus, but she's doing it anyways. And she is completely unfazed by the fact that she is bleeding out. Like, she's so casual about all of this.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's another thing is unrealistic reactions. Like, what happens to her? She should be fucking freaking out,
Panic.
Going to the news. Like, look what the fuck's happening to me. But no, she's trying to just play it cool. She's back in bed with Jared. So yes, this was a whole flashback, and she has a pang of pain from her phantom foot. And then she tells him she needs his help. And so the very next scene after she tells him she needs his help is like he's rushing out, asking all of the FBI agents that are around the house and cops if they have rubbers, if they have condoms. I thought this was real weird. So are they going to fuck again, or what is the deal with him wanting rubbers?
I don't know. It's this big drawn out moment, and like really, like, it doesn't do anything. You could have just had her been like, I need you to do me a favor, and then cut to him trying to leave. Because he just comes out in the car and
yeah, because I'm not entirely sure what the favor that she's asking is. Is it to fuck her again? Or, I mean, I'm assuming it's to take her to Jennifer Toland's house, because that's what ends up happening is his car won't start. So he gets into her car and like he's driving away, and like the FBI is like, where are you going? He's like, just let me go. So they do. And like, he literally like drives her to Jennifer Toland's house, gets her out of the trunk. She's been in the trunk the whole time. And then they kiss passionately. So now, I mean, apparently her and him are a hot item. I mean, I can't really blame him because he really does think that it's, Aubrey. But I mean, this is a really shitty thing for this girl to be doing. But she goes to Jennifer Toland's house, and she's now in the living room with her parents.
That is the last time we see Jared. Let's point out a major problem. Characters, we've mentioned it, coming and going. Up to this point, though, like, none of the characters had any real emotional connectivity. They've all felt very disposable. Jared does not. Jared feels like his story here with Aubrey needs closure. Like, I want to know what happens. Which broad does he end up going with? He's got two of them. He's got two to pick from. And they both got nubbins. I mean, so it's no matter how you shake it, one's a whore and fucks like one, and the other one is delicate and demure. Pick your poison. I know who I'm going with. Yeah, you know me. But no, I mean, like, and so it just feels like they have, if they've devoted time to anything here, it's developing what is like a relationship where this guy is clearly willing to do a lot for this girl. He's really infatuated with her, I feel, and hasn't been played often as a negative character at all. So, like, why would you want to give us some element of closure? You don't get it at all, and it's really upsetting. It is upsetting. It makes me mad.
He disappears. This is it. His whole thing was to drop her off at Jennifer Toland's house for some reason. Like, I'm kind of thinking, like, why is she there? Because Because here's the thing, Roger, is I could buy it if this character has shown any fucking millimeter of care about what happened to Aubrey, what happened to Jennifer. She doesn't even give a shit what's happening to herself. Like, why is she all of a sudden out of the blue? Why does she care about going to Jennifer Toland's house?
Well, and it's that couple that we saw break down crying earlier, but like, I didn't think they were coming back, and they don't need to. This doesn't lead anywhere. It's not like she doesn't find anything. She doesn't leave with anything. She's just there, just walking around in her room, just hobbling around her room, looking like Baba Yaga's house sometimes when she's not wearing a leg. You know what I'm saying? She's hobbling around there. She's got the robot leg on today, though. And the mom comes out, she's flipping out, pouring tea, losing her shit. The dad, they have a weird bonding moment with the dad that goes nowhere. It's just like all fucking over the place.
Yeah, the mom doesn't want her there. Like, why did you even come here? You're not even helping the police. Which again, yes, that's very true. Why are you fucking there? And so the mother storms out crying. The dad's like, I know you didn't mean to upset us. And she's like, I just need to see her room. So they let this random girl go into her bedroom and she's snooping around. She does set her eyes on a trophy that looks familiar because it's the piano musical genius of the year trophy that we see that Aubrey has in her room as well. But that before we can even hone in on that, her parents are there to get her.
Yeah, and that is like the one thing that I guess remotely ties in a bit, and but then it comes up again later on in a moment in the cemetery where it's almost like you didn't. Again, when I'm saying you didn't need this, it's like the story would have told itself without this plot point. It gets brought up elsewhere. So really, like, it's just about having this strange moment where, like, she basically just asks the dad, like, will you let me go inside Jennifer's room? Like, why? Were you especially close with my daughter? Like, do you know my daughter that well? You never ever hear anything about Aubrey's relationship with Jennifer. So, like, why is she asking the dad to go up there? And as the dad, why does he allow her? Why does he allow her to go wander the bedroom filled with horrifying Victorian porcelain dolls? Why are they there too? It's just weird. It's just a weird moment. She's just
free to rifle through all of Jennifer's items, and yeah. So I'm assuming Jennifer's parents called Susan and Daniel, right? Come and get your fucking daughter now, because they show up, they take her out, and Daniel's like, this is why Detective Lazarus thinks that you're just a fucking troublemaker. And she's like, oh, he's just mad because he knows that Aubrey's still out there, and Daniel, like, for the first time, he's like, just shut the fuck up. Like they're getting fed up with this bitch.
Understandably so, because she's not pleasant about it either. Like, Dakota fucking Moss is kind of a bitch. And like, I really feel like there's better ways to argue your side of the story on things, Dakota Moss. But we have to hear the whole thing only for the detectives to theorize that they think she's like loving the reality that she's created too. Like, we got to hear that fucking story again coming up here again.
Here's the thing where the DNA results have come back on Dakota and Aubrey, but Detective Barcombe or whatever, Larscombe, has found a story that was on Aubrey's flash drive. And it is the story about a girl named Dakota. The story itself, Roger, how much blatant can you get? It's called Dakota. And it's about
it's to the point.
It's about a girl who feels like she has a second half that she doesn't know about, and she goes out searching for her. And so this leads this detective to believe that, yes, this girl that we have here is really Aubrey, and that she is living in a world that she created. Like, her PTSD has caused her to transition or descend into this make-believe world of this character that she wrote about. And it gets solidified in their minds when Detective Lazarus reveals that the DNA is the same. It's the same girl.
And this is a great, interesting concept. And this is something that, like, I wouldn't have minded more of throughout the story. Talking about the whole idea that, like, she's been writing these stories that are connected to Dakota, and that, like, they're really going to explore that thoroughly. Like, I just feel this is kind of like the moment for the detectives where this feels like they're kind of like, well, we're wrapping it up. like this is a conclusion that they come to. And now from here moving forward, it really becomes more about Lindsay Lohan finding out for herself what's going on. And this is the point where the detectives really, in my opinion, become an afterthought, you know? And It feels like there's some loose ends here. Just to have them accept this as being like, this sounds reasonable to us. I don't know. It just feels like that something is left hanging. You know what I mean?
Well, because let's be clear, this is the last time we see these two detectives as well.
Yes.
So this is it. They come to the conclusion that it's Aubrey and she's just living in this fantasy world. That's it. I don't even know if they go tell the parents. I don't know what happens. We don't know. All we do know is that night she has a dream that involves that random guy from the bus. I'm wondering, Roger, in the original 3.5 version cut, was there a whole scene where the two get off the bus and fuck? Because I'm just like, in my mind, I'm like trying to figure out, how is this guy that you literally had a 5-second conversation with all of a sudden now in your dreams, to the point where he's like takes off his shirt and he has this elaborate heart with a wing tattoo on his chest. And he's like saying a bunch of opposite words: love, hate, tall, short. Sometimes people get cut. Sometimes people get cut in half. And then she jolts awake. What the fuck is this?
Well, and like the digital effects kind of looks cool at first, the tattoo, but then it turns into like this really weird, like distorted visual. You see like an eye open, all of a sudden it gets really fucking bad. Yeah. Like, I don't know. This is like, again, things that the whole bus bit.
But why him? Because he didn't act weird on the bus.
Right.
Like I could see if he was
Right.
like creepy on the bus or was like, trying to give her some sage, advice on the bus. He's like very dismissive of her on the bus. So why this particular character has this pivotal moment that's kind of leading her to a revelation about what really is going on? Why couldn't this have been like Jared or one of those girls from, I don't know. It just seems like such a weird choice for a character to come in and be like a harbinger. I don't know.
Or even if like he would have shared a moment with Aubrey too, as something to tie them together, to make it feel like he served a purpose here. But like the moment in the bus was just a random toss away moment. And it had no impact on the story. This whole film is very much like these disjointed moments, these disjointed interactions that it almost feels kind of intentional. One of the things the director said is he just wanted to embrace the weirdness of it all. This film is very weird. Let's be clear here. This film, it is incoherent. It is all over the place. And it's just these weird interactions that really don't have any lasting impact. But for some reason, they get a strange amount of focus.
Yeah. Well, now she wakes up because she woke up from this dream and she lights a cigarette, gets on Aubrey's computer, figures out the password right away. The password's Dakota.
It's far too simple of a password.
Yeah, I'm like, really? Your first guess, you're just going to guess it's Dakota. And then she begins to search for like bleeding wounds, unexplained, and gets hits regarding stigmata. And like finds his video with Art Bell from Coast to Coast AM. I used to listen to Art Bell, Roger. His whole radio show is people calling in and having supernatural experiences and stuff. It's kind of cool. But he's basically hosting this YouTube video or this video that she finds and watches called Mysteries of the Mind. And it's a video about twin stigmata. So basically twins that experience the same sort of wounds. And he tells the story of this guy named Jacob K, who was like a gambler and he borrowed a bunch of money. He didn't pay it back. So he was like gunned down and murdered. He was shot in the throat by the loan shark. And then his twin brother, Joseph K, was just like sitting at home and like randomly got a gunshot wound in his neck and they both died.
Quite an elaborate recreation, like a reenactment that they have as part of this random YouTube video. It's historically accurate too. But yeah, this guy, he gives this big elaborate spiel. And so like, that's it. That's what the movie's about. Like, let's be clear, moving forward, this is the idea at play. This film is about two twins experiencing twin stigmata, and so they experience each other's wounds. And like, okay, like one thing I will like give this is like, I haven't heard a ton of that. Like that's something that is an idea that's been approached before, but overall, like, again, in the hands of a different director, or maybe in a 3.5 hour long cut, that would have made sense. But here, it's an idea that's approached, and it suddenly is like you're supposed to just accept it. Like, you're supposed to just be like, okay, this is what's happening here. Like, after you learn about it, this is real.
Again, it just comes out of nowhere. Now it gives the film a very heavy, harsh, supernatural element. Because what we find out is, yeah, every time Aubrey's limbs were being cut off by the killer, Dakota's limbs were vanishing and being cut off. I mean, that's a very fantastical thing to buy into. But as she's watching the video, Susan comes into the room, and they do have this like sort of, it's the only like nice tender moment between any characters in the entire film. So I got to appreciate that. She comes in and she brushes Dakota's hair away, and Dakota flinches and then apologizes. And then Dakota's like, I think I'm Aubrey's twin. The hospital could have, made a mix up. And Susan's like, no, there's no way that you could be a twin. In fact, what she does is she takes her downstairs and shows her ultrasound video to show that it's only her in the womb. And then basically, yeah, you alluded to this earlier. She has this whole story about she fell when she was pregnant and was basically bedridden for most of the pregnancy. And the night that Aubrey was born, she barely got to see her because Aubrey was born and had an issue. So they had to take Aubrey away immediately and put her into like an incubator for 2 days. And then this whole time, like Daniel his figure is like behind them, very eerily, creepily, just like listening to this whole conversation.
Yes, these tonal shifts for Daniel are really like out of left field. And again, not totally necessary. There's this kind of weird red herring vibe coming about for his character that in some ways, I guess, is deserved. But overall, I mean, he's certainly not the villain. He does something pretty horrible, but he's definitely not the villain here. I do think this moment with Susan is probably the best acting in the film. She seems genuinely devoted to the story she's telling, and really like it's clear that because of the like physically what Susan went through carrying Aubrey, that she has I think her relationship with her is very doting and very loving, and I think that that's part of the relationship that she has with her husband and everything. We don't get a ton of it, but I think it's clear like why he did what he did was because she had been through such a rough time with this pregnancy. And that might be why they have so many videos. Troy, think about it. If she was that injured and she was being monitored, they probably had to check like actually on the progress of the baby. So maybe that's why she had it, but that's not explained, but it's an interesting idea here that's brought up. But shockingly enough, like not too long after this, Susan gets pushed to the wayside and disappears. And she's too far prevalent a character to have that treatment.
Yeah, she's done after this. This is it. I bet when they have that final moment where like Susan's like, I know you're a kicker girl and I'm going to be there. You're going to kick your way out of this. And I'm going to be there with you every step of the way. And they both cry, and, there's just a very tender moment. And then we just cut to her up in her room, or up in Aubrey's room, trying to reach that trophy because she remembers that Jennifer has the same trophy. So she goes upstairs, she gets on a stool, and she's trying to reach the trophy when all of a sudden she has a vision of Aubrey in a white dress being hit with a shovel and dragged into a hole, and it causes her, of course, to fall and have a nosebleed. And we get that long imagery of like owls hooting and like the blue petals of the blue roses like flying off and landing in the stream and going down the stream, and it's very elaborate. And then in the most just lackluster way possible, she goes into Daniel's office and tells him she knows what he did, that Susan's real baby died in the incubator, so he bought her from the crack whore down the hall. So one baby got to live this privileged life. She got to stay with the crack whore stripper. Okay, this is a big revelation. How did she figure this out? We get nothing. I was like, this is what I'm talking about. I was like rewinding. I'm like, wait, where would she figure this out? Like,
and also another thing here that I think is really kind of unfair to the character of Daniel is like, up to this point, Susan has been getting significantly more attention than Daniel, favoring her relationship, trying to step in as a mother figure and take care of her daughter who is struggling with amnesia. This I would definitely say Susan has been the focus thus far, and Daniel has taken a back seat. Now, to bring this revelation up and completely like out of fucking nowhere, like there is that cool moment where she like experiences the impact and sees in the reflection, even though the effect itself is pretty awful, the reflection. As soon as it goes into that pedal bit of it going through like the running river that's running through the area, that's a really cool revelation moment, but it's not explored enough. And for this to be instead the tool that is used to motivate her confronting Daniel, that's not enough for me. Okay, so you've got a connection with this girl. Got it. But she brings up the stamp, but that's not enough for me. Like, there's got to be more. She needs to approach this with significantly less confidence in the matter than she has. And it just feels very weird.
I wanted a moment for the audience where the audience can like put pieces together and figure it out instead of just having her barge in and announce, "Oh, guess what? I know what happened. You bought a baby because your real baby died." Yeah, and she's like, I mean, the only hint that she gives is like, I saw the envelopes, I saw the postage mark from New Salem. And he's denying it at first. And she's like, listen, you're going to let us both die because you don't want to admit the truth. He's like, no. And she tells him, she's like, I'm going to die. Like we are both going to die. If we don't find her, like she's still alive. I know she's still alive. If we don't find her, we're both going to die. Do you want that? And he won't commit. So she like, you're pathetic. Go fuck yourself. She goes out and she goes to this cemetery. She gets to a grave and the tombstone first says Aubrey Fleming. And then all of a sudden lightning strikes and it changes. It's Jennifer Toland's grave, which this is pretty fast for a tombstone to be at a gravesite already. I mean, the girl was just found like the day before, but she already has a grave and a tombstone. Okay, so this isn't enough for me, Roger. This isn't enough. She finds a blue ribbon at the gravesite. And so she picks the ribbon up, and the ribbon says that blue ribbons are for winners. Red are for losers. Make sure you always get a blue ribbon. Signed, Mr. Norquist, who is the piano teacher. This is enough for her to put together that he's the killer. And then Daniel appears behind her, like, how did he get there? Because it's a jump scare where he grabs her shoulder and she turns around and she sees him. And the first thing she says is, I know who killed me. Which, can we acknowledge the movie title doesn't even make sense because she's not dead?
All of this, it feels like very like a lot of major revelations are happening. And these are the things that I feel should be treated with such care. And they're just being just fucking thrown out there with absolutely no regard for the storytelling or the craft of it. Even him following her, she just walks up to the cemetery. Why is Jennifer coming back into play again? I mean, like, she's come up several times now, but like and yes, she's another victim of this guy, but you're not following the killer at all, so that doesn't fucking matter. Why does she keep coming back to Jennifer? And so then you've got this whole bit where he shows up, he's tracked her down there. You're right. She says, I know who killed me. Neither of the girls are technically dead. Now, yes, technically she's being buried alive. So this is the thing, is we're starting to realize that this has all triggered this realization that meanwhile Aubrey has been knocked out and is now in a coffin and is being buried alive by the killer, like as we speak. This is all operating at the exact same time. And so as she's getting buried, we're starting to realize that Dakota is going to start like experiencing some of that, like, oh, I'm starting to lose my breath, things like that. But so now she feels extremely connected with her. And you get little glimpses of what's happening in the meanwhile. But like all of that to me seems like the exciting shit. I want to be seeing so much more of this fucking killer doing what he's doing. Make that the focus. And I feel it had to be in like Lindsay Lohan's contract or something, that she had to be in this much of the movie, because it just feels, the story feels so not balanced, and it's not in any way beneficial to the overall film.
Well, and this blue ribbon being the revelation of who the killer is. Again, it's just so weak, but it's apparently it's enough for Daniel to buy it too, because when she shows it to him, he's like, "Oh no, oh no!" So they get into his car, and yeah, during the car drive there, she is losing her breath, and now Roger, all of a sudden, she can hear Aubrey talking to her, which has never come up the entire film, but now she's hearing Aubrey say, "Dakota, I can't breathe. I can't breathe." I mean, they're just throwing shit out here willy-nilly. They go to Norquist's house, which creepy. Can we get a house any creepier?
During the car ride, don't we have that whole bit where she talks about putting her finger back on?
Oh yeah,
With the dad?
oh,
Like where she's talking about where she trying to sew that like the finger she lost. She basically tells him about what got her to the area. So she went and stripped. She pulled her finger off. She tried to sew it back on, this dead finger. And then she like woke up and she was like, I think she had maybe started experiencing like her leg falling off. So she then hitchhiked on crutches, but eventually just ended up in a ditch.
Collapsed.
So we get this whole flashback. She just collapsed in a ditch. So and that's how she turned up there. But like I mean, they're just throwing shit out here. Like, what is happening? I'm struggling to put the story together.
And the girl never thinks to call the police, call a hospital, because I mean, instead she's just going to limp down a highway. I mean, where was she going? I mean, I feel like the natural reaction if this really happened to somebody, I think, would be way more heightened than what it is. Yeah, so yeah, we get that story. We get her now hearing Aubrey talk specifically to her. They get to Norquist's house. Daniel apologizes to her. He's like, "I should have listened to you." He goes into the house. When he goes in, she's having visions. Now we get a bunch of visions now of her as a child, as Aubrey as a child. You're getting Aubrey being hit with the shovel again. You're getting her dragged. You're getting her cut. You're getting the two little girls screaming. I'm thinking that's what you were alluding to earlier when you said that that must have been a hint that they, in their lives where they both got hurt or something and felt it. Wasn't enough for me. I didn't get that until you said it, but just a lot. And then she just like gets out of the car and proceeds to go to the house. She goes to the front door. It's a beautiful blue stained glass. It doesn't open. So she goes to I guess this is the back door leading to the basement, and she opens it. And of course, like immediately something falls down the stairs, making the loudest noise as possible. I don't know what prompted her to go to the house.
Is there a plan here? I mean, have we discussed what we're doing? Here's the thing, like, overall, like, she knows, she's got a gut instinct that this guy's the killer. There's detectives in this film. Tell them. Tell them. Call them. Call your mother. Check in on her. Get her involved. Go get Fat Tina. Go get her. You're close with her. Get a whole gang of people. But to just go with your dad. And what's he doing? He's just staying in the car. She goes and walks around. She gets up to the door, and then, like, I mean, obviously the killer's aware because she's running into possums and shit. And then this whole bit where the door opens and the killer just like fucking grabs her. It's just out of nowhere. The killer, blue bodysuit. The killer is wearing an all electric blue bodysuit, by the way. And that's jarring to look at. And he just grabs her and she just fucking hacks this guy's hand off.
I was like, what is going on? Like, this happened so fast.
Like,
there's no
Troy.
suspense. We talked about Mikey last week, the climax being underwhelming. Oh boy, this takes the cake. This has to be the most rushed, underwhelming climax I've ever seen. I mean, yeah, there's no suspense built. You could tell they're just rushing through it. I mean, yeah, she opens the door and he like grabs her and she cuts his hand off. And then he runs upstairs screaming fucking bloody murder. He gets a bucket of ice to put his hand on. And like she's downstairs wandering through a labyrinth of plastic arms and legs hanging from the ceiling.
I got a big issue here, Troy. A big issue. This location, the whole house in general, is the most stereotypical like den of a killer we've seen in a while. But without giving me any exposition, you're not just going to have me walk into this house to a fucking labyrinth of mannequin limbs and not give me some backstory as to why this killer is so infatuated with mannequin limbs. Like, I understand he likes to cut limbs off. Got it. Why? Why? Like, why? Like, what is the symbolism? Like, what is, other than the fact that you wanted to get Lindsay Lohan to not have a limb and then do that digital effect or whatever was the visual that you wanted to pull off there for the killer, like to not make it symbolic, to not give it purpose, to not give it reason, to not give it motivation. It is so unfair what they do to this killer. He is so fucking wasted.
Yeah. This is probably the most underdeveloped killer from a serial killer film that I've ever seen. You mentioned Silence of the Lambs. Now, I'm not expecting this to be Silence of the Lambs. That's a fucking masterpiece. But you get to know the psychology of the killer. You get to know why he's doing what he's doing. You know, cutting limbs off is a very specific thing. I would have liked to have known, like, what caused him to choose this method of death. You know, we know nothing about this killer. He's a piano teacher. He likes the color blue. That's it. You know, I'm thinking, I cannot think of another movie that is focused on serial killers and having a serial killer as a prominent part of the plot that does not take an ounce, a millisecond of time to try to give us a glimpse of the psyche of the killer. I got, you know, watching this, I got a lot of vibes from the movie. What's the movie? It's another, I'll think of the title here in a second. It's Stanley Tucci's in it. He plays the Lovely Bones.
The Lovely Bones.
Got some connections, but that movie again we get a psyche of that killer. You know, this just, I don't know anything about this guy. He's not scary. You know, when he's in killer mode, he's not scary. He was creepier as the piano teacher. Why are all these mannequin limbs hanging everywhere? You know, then he has a very like specific method of death for Daniel, because as she's walking through the room, she finds the bucket with blood being drained into it. And when she sees an operating table and she lifts the cloth off of it, and it's Daniel under there being like drained of all of his blood.
Yeah, and like, how do you fucking get there? Like, I get he was in the car. That was quick. Like, and this poor guy's he's just dead like that.
I mean, she was only in the car like 15 seconds after he went in. So you trying to tell me Daniel walked in, was immediately dispatched, and had
drained of his blood.
I mean, he does.
This guy's quick, man.
I mean, he does have the moment where he apologizes to her again, but then he dies.
Yeah, he does die. Or like, I mean, I guess he dies. It's a lot of blood. He's been drained of a lot of blood. But still, you're going to kill Audrey's father and like not address that? Like, this finale. So he's just there. He's just there dead, or whatever it is. He's just there dead. And then the killer just kind of comes and grabs her and grabs her. He's screaming.
He knocks her out with the arm, a mannequin arm. And then
easy as that.
Then he goes up. He ties her upstairs. He ties her in the basement, and then he goes upstairs to like play the piano while his hand is in the ice.
I'm impressed. If he was able to drag this woman after having just lost his hand, it's not even like he's accustomed to not having a hand. He just lost his hand. I'm sure it's very painful. Drags this woman, ties her up. I can't tie shit if I'm missing a hand. I can't tie shit on my own.
How are you tying elaborate knots with a stump and I don't understand. A bleeding hand. A bleeding stump. It's not even a hand anymore.
Well, and Troy, here's the thing. Like, okay. So I'm convinced that there are two things they really wanted in this film for the killer. They wanted one specific shot of him playing the piano without a hand. And they wanted one specific shot of him standing amongst mannequin legs. That comes up a little bit later. And like, I think they're like, okay, these are the two visuals we want. Nothing else mattered. Because like, there is something poignant about having a pianist, who his only thing we know about him is that he's a piano teacher. That's literally all we know, because we don't know why he's killing people. And have him playing the piano after having just lost his hand. There's something very poignant there. And if someone would have just handled the script properly, and there would have been plenty of room to build into something. That's the thing, is it's not like they couldn't have found something for this guy. It's almost disrespectful to the actor playing this character to give him a character that should be so impactful to the story, and to make the bold decision to make it so minimal. It is hugely upsetting. Like, it's a really horribly unsatisfying conclusion.
And again, rushed because I mean, one minute he's playing the piano, the next minute he goes downstairs and he confronts her. And again, this is where we realize he doesn't know that there was another girl found that was alive. Like because he's like, why did you come back? How are you back? I just buried you. You should be dead. And then he's like, now I have to do the whole thing over again. Somehow we don't see it. Somehow she got untied. She untied herself because he lurches at her and she jumps away and like crawls under that table. And again, I don't know. I mean, we're already almost at the 2-hour mark for the movie, so I guess I didn't really need it to be any longer. But come on, give us a chase scene. Give us some suspense. We get nothing because when he reaches down to grab her, she immediately stabs him with one of the blue knives in the gut, pulls it out, stabs him in the neck. And blood's gushing everywhere. He has that, pain look on his face, and then he like stumbles around before grabbing an armful of the hanging arms and collapsing and dying. That's it.
And they like try to make it a moment, and I really think again, I think if they would have built up to this could have been such a cool final moment. There's these little elements of this story that are so unique. The whole infatuation with his amputating limbs. Like, there it is. That explains why the mannequin parts are there, but don't just show it. Like, you've got to show me the psychology of it. And there are just so many opportunities to have made this a better story. And it really is just, it had to be lost in the cutting room floor. I can't think of another explanation because I just don't think that it makes sense for a writer to sit down and write a script and be so intentional about all these little details, but then not give us anything else at all about the matter. And to have this whole moment of him dying, yeah, I feel nothing at all. I feel nothing at all about anything that happens here.
I don't either. I know. I mean, it's because A, it happened so fast. B, we know nothing about the killer. And then like she stumbles out of the house. She gets a shovel. I'm assuming like we're supposed to believe she has a connection now to Aubrey. So like, and she's had visions. So she's I guess recognizes the landscape because she knows exactly where to go to dig. Like
I think the mythical owl leads her, Troy.
There's that owl. I mean, that's the only I was like, well, how does she know? Like the exact, this is a huge forest, but she goes to the exact spot, digs like not even like 6 inches into the ground. And yes, that beautiful stained glass blue coffin is there. And she proceeds to use her robot hand to bust through the coffin, which, I mean, did you see she like aims it right at poor Aubrey's face? So like all the glass falls under her face. I'm like, that was not a good move.
What if she miscalculated and like punched through Aubrey's head after all of this? That would have been such a better ending than what actually happens. Because yeah, like there's this whole just like this very gratuitous moment of Lindsay Lohan laying atop Lindsay Lohan here that feels like, this really feels to me like why she signed on for the movie. Her being like, yes, I'm gonna have this grand moment where it's me and me. And like, again, like the second time I've done this on camera, but now as a woman, and it's gonna be really powerful. And like, finally, like we get some emotion out of Lindsay as she starts to cry over top herself. But it feels just like very like, yeah, like very gratuitous, and like they share this moment here, but like it just doesn't feel earned. They both seem very aware of like what's going on. If I was Aubrey, I would be like, what the fuck? Holy shit. And then I'd be like, where's my dad? And then she's like, your dad's dead. He just bled out. And she'd be like, where is he? And she's like, he's in there. Did you call the police? No, I came and I dug you up instead. I just let him continue bleeding, I guess. You never find out because this is the end of the movie.
Oh my God. I was like, are you fucking serious? This is where the movie's going to end? Like the movie ends with them laying next to each other. We don't know what happens. Does Dakota go live with them now? There's no.
He's dead.
Well, the mom isn't. There's no resolution to Susan.
Poor Susan. There's no resolution to anybody.
No resolution to
other than these two fucking selfish broads.
Jared, I want to know who's he fucking now. Which one of them is he fucking? Or are they doing a 3?
Both of them.
You know what? Yeah, probably. But that's how it ends. And I'm like, wait, this is rushed, and then you are just not going to explain a lot of shit that needs to be explained.
None of it. Oh my God, Troy, it truly is. Maybe of all of the podcast episodes we've done to date, this may be the most unsatisfying ending, because really, like, there are so many things that felt that they would have been so easy to just bring closure. Have them do the typical, them getting, brought out to the ambulances. The detectives are there. The mom is there. The body's brought out. The friends show up. Even they get some closure. And everyone gets a nice happy ending. Something, kind of. I don't know. But no, instead they just ended on this like fucking lazy ass shot of her laying there with herself, which does look, it's composited well, I'll say that. But it doesn't feel like it's meant to be the conclusion. Like there definitely feels like there should be more after this to tie it up. And the fact you don't get that, it leaves me on not just a bitter note, but kind of an angry note. I'm going to say that, Troy. I'm a little bit angry after I watch this movie because really, I feel like the way they handled the final execution of this film is almost like inconsiderate of the people that are watching it. If you really think I'm going to come into a movie and sit down and watch this and see this be how you've wrapped it up and feel satisfied with this as a conclusion, I feel like you're really underestimating me and what I can handle as a viewer, what my brain is capable of, what pieces I can and cannot put together. Try giving me a lot less bloat and a lot more coherent story, and maybe I'll be happy. But this is not a satisfying experience.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the film is severely lacking a coherent story, and I don't know what would have fixed it. I guess it would be, I don't know if I could do it, but I guess it would be interesting to sit through a 3.5 hour version to see what specifically was cut, if it would have helped. I don't know. You know what? Things like Lindsay Lohan's flat performance can't, I mean, a 3.5 hour cut's just going to make that more miserable, you know?
What if it's a masterpiece, though?
Oh my God. You know what? It could be.
Eat our words.
We'd be eating our words. We'd get more of Fat Tina, or what the fuck is that?
Fat Tina has a whole story arc that we just were completely deprived. Oh my God. I would pay money. I'd pay money to see
I need
that.
more of her. But yeah, you know what? I can say I've seen the film now.
And that's saying something. Here at Dark Night of the Podcast, Troy finally saw the Lindsay Lohan, starring opposite Lindsay Lohan, erotic thriller, giallo, I guess, noir, maybe.
But it's a supernatural film too.
Supernatural thriller.
Which I will tell you, I wasn't expecting that supernatural element. I would have never guessed that this film was about twin stigmata and having, that came out of nowhere for me.
This is a film that I would like to see someone take the storyline, take the very basic concept of it, write a completely brand new script, new story, and try approaching it again. Yeah, let's give it to James Wan. Let's see what he can do with it. But this does not satisfy me in any way, shape, or form, and I will probably never watch it again. But hey, it's always nice to see Lindsay Lohan, even if she's not doing a great job at what she's doing. It's always nice to see her.
Bless her heart. You know, I'm glad that I really hope Freakier Friday gives her a career revival, because I do like her. I do like her. I just think this was the wrong project for her specifically. I feel like in the hands of a different actress, that's not going to improve the story or anything, but in the hands of a different actress, at least I feel like maybe the film would have been a little bit more emotionally impactful, because I'd have a sense of two real characters, and she just doesn't feel like a real, especially two different characters at all. Like there's no range. You don't realize there's zero range to her performance in this film. It's very flat. Zero range. Zero.
My God, when she's losing fingers and limbs and smoking cigarettes, like it's no big deal. You feel very, very removed from her, disconnected from her. It doesn't feel relatable. And yeah, so I think this film is one that has a bad reputation for a very clear and evident reason. But I am happy, Troy. Thank you for taking the time to watch it. I hope it feels like your time was worthwhile.
You know, anytime I get to discuss a film with you, Roger, it is worthwhile. So thank you for allowing me to watch a film that I probably never would have watched. I Know Who Killed Me. I'm going to reveal to you and our audience what my pick is for next week. Are you excited?
Always fucking excited. Oh my God. Tell me now.
Before I reveal it, I want to say we got a couple of surprising, and it comes in spurts. I'm surprised. You know, our Apple Podcast reviews, we got like four new ratings and two actually written reviews. So I want to thank you to DK Fan Films for leaving us a very nice review, telling us to keep up the great work, giving us 5 stars, and to Holly Go Frightly, who left us a review saying that we are her new road trip horror friends. And we got a couple new ratings. Unfortunately, one of them was a 4-star, which we never had before. So whoever did that, you might after having us watch this film, you might want to go in and change that to a 5. All right, because we don't want no 4-star. We ain't no 4-star bitches here. We already got a 1-star and a 3-star. We don't need a 4-star. Okay.
Oh no!
With that,
we're putting in the work.
We are. God, they don't appreciate us. Okay, so next week, I feel like the last 2 episodes, I feel like we may need a palate cleanser. We need to get back to something a little bit more serious. And I'm going to tell you, very few films to actually scare me. And I'm saying this seriously, to creep me out. The only other film I can compare it to as far as how I felt watching it is Lake Mungo, which we covered a while back.
I cried.
Yeah, this
cried when I watched
this one
it.
has been on my list forever because it is truly a terrifying film. And I don't think you've seen it, Roger. So I'm super excited for you to watch this. When you watch this, Roger, probably you're going to do it in a dark room with your TV on with the volume all the way up. Guys, be prepared to have the shit scared out of you because we are covering Session 9.
My God, I've heard so much about fucking Session 9. I'm so scared to watch this film. Oh God, I'm gonna shit myself. I know it. Oh my God, I know it. But you know what? It's all for you. If I shit myself, it's all for Dark Knight, the podcast, and for my sister Troy. I'm really excited. So, you know what? We've been needing a palate cleanser. I think we need just a truly great horror film, and all I've heard is that this is a good movie. So I'm confident in your take.
I mean, I think this is a film I see people praise this film all the time. Of course, there are detractors, like there is with anything, that'll say it's, boring, blah, blah, blah. But again, it's one of the very few films to actually creep me out. So I'm excited to revisit it. It's been a while since I've watched it, but I definitely want to hear your take on it, if it's effective for you as it was for me the first time I watched it. So guys, if you haven't checked out Session 9, watch it before our next episode. And we have to acknowledge this is episode 160 for us. So that's a milestone as well. So yeah, leave us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts, none of that 4-star rating shit. And we will be back with you next week for a truly, I think, insightful conversation about a truly terrifying film, Session 9.
Session 9. I can't wait.
Me neither. Good night.
Good night.